I don't know who needs to hear this, but this is specifically for the woman who has worked on herself and been getting treated less than what she deserves. You got to get real stingy with access to you. You got to be willing to let a man miss what he mishandled. I don't care how much he come back and plead and say that he sees the light and he went and talked to the lady and, he's so regretful and remorseful. And no, he ain't. Not, it was whenever he had you, he wasn't regretful. When you was giving him a chance, he wasn't regretful. Why is it that all of a sudden now, as you finally gotten the courage to leave and revoke access, he's all of a sudden so remorseful? Change of heart, ain't nothing changed. What has happened is that man's consequences have caught up to him. And a lot of men don't have the aim of the properly loved version of you. They have the aim of access to you. It's very selfish. And I know it probably sounds similar, but there's a huge difference between a man who says, you come into my life, I want to make sure I upgrade you in every way. I want to increase and contribute to the quality of your life. I want to put a smile on your face and keep it there. I want to be accountable to you. So you know you're not in this thing alone. And the man who says, long as you ain't out here being enjoyed by nobody else, long as no other man has the access or the ability to love you, I'm cool. I don't care what condition you're in. I don't care if you're happy. I don't care if your mental health is stable. I don't care. I just want to make sure you can't go out there and be loved by nobody else. You see, to the second man, let him miss what he mishandled. For a second, you got to be willing to suppress all of that empathy, that empathetic heart that you got. And remember, not what you want, because what you want is for things to work out. What you want is for this man to be sincere. And you got to remember what you deserve. You got to remember what you deserve. And whenever you revoke access to a man, or from a man, should I say, when you revoke that man's access to you, you got to revoke access not just physically, but emotionally and mentally as well. I say that because a lot of times you'll get a man out of your life and he stays on your mind because you have not done the second part of that process to completely purge a man from your life, both externally and internally. You have to be willing to break the soul tie. I know that sounds like, super religious, whatever. It's not even, it's very practical to break a soul tie. And I teach this step-by-step process in my masterclass. Matter of fact, let me put this up here. If you guys have not yet, I talked about how to do that, how to get your ex off your mind for good, how to detox that toxic person out of your life and out of your heart. Whether he imprinted you with trust issues, negative narratives, anxiety, whatever it is that he did, you can detox that man out of your system for good. Comment the word soul tie, and I'll just send you the masterclass where I talked about how to do this. Comment the word soul tie. Let me bring you a little bit closer. Comment the word soul tie, and I will send you access to the masterclass where I talked about how to fully remove a man out of your system, out of your thoughts, stop the rumination, because it don't do you no good to get that man out of your life if he's still on your mind. He's still in your thoughts. He's still triggering you. He still has you putting up guards whenever men come along that do want to love you. But back to what I was saying. That man took you for granted when he had you. Now all of a sudden he texting all of these long paragraphs about what he lost and how he sees it now. He just had a lot on his mind. He had time to think. He ignored your value when you were there. Now he's posting all of these quotes online about how rare good women are, maybe even forewarning other men. He treated you like an option when you treated him like a priority. Now he's trying to treat you like a prize that he needs to win. Now he'll cross the oceans for you. He'll do whatever for you. But in a relationship, he wouldn't jump over a puddle. Let that man miss you. Let that man miss what he mishandled. Because here's what you got to understand. His sudden appreciation, that's not growth. Again, that's his guilty conscience. That's the consequences catching up with him. Don't go back to a man who only learned your worth after losing you. Never go back to a man who only recognized and learned your worth after you finally got the courage to stop trying to prove your worth to him. Let him sit with that regret. His awakening isn't a second chance. It's validation that leaving him was the right choice for you. That's all it is. And they're always going to spin the block. When they realize you were serious about leaving, you weren't just bluffing, and they actually now have to confront the reality that there are other men out there who are not going to fumble you. There are other men out there who are going to see the value in you. I talked about this before. Like a lot of dudes, it's like while they're in a relationship, they don't realize how many men are waiting for them to screw up once and for all, waiting for you to give up on the relationship because other men can see the value that they're taking for granted. It's like, as dudes, it's like, I don't get why you would get with the woman that every dude wants and forget she's still the woman that every dude wants. But for the woman in that situation, let him miss you. All of that regret, all of that remorse, it's not proof that he's changed. It's proof that you were right to leave. Again, let me say this, and I talked about this in the masterclass as well, breaking the soul tie. But there's actually a difference between regret and remorse. When a man has true remorse, one is going to be substantiated by changed behavior. Okay. He's going to vocalize accountability. He's actually going to do things differently, make sacrifices, make changes, the whole nine. And even then, you don't owe him nothing. When a man is simply regretful, that means he hates the situation he's been put in, but he's only in it because he had denial that it would come to this. The man who gets sentenced to life in prison for murder is probably regretful most times when he gets sentenced. Does that mean that he's a good man or that he's changed? No. He'll still be out here doing the exact same thing had he not gotten caught. His regret is more tied to the pain he now has to suffer because he couldn't feel no suffering when it was on the other end. Same thing goes for a man who regrets losing you. When a man stresses how much he regrets losing you, that's because now he has to sit with the situation he's created and he has to feel that pain. He has to feel that neglect and that isolation that you have been enduring the entire time. You were trying to get him to reciprocate your love. And here's the kicker. The whole time you were going through that, that was in the middle of a relationship where both of you had an agreement to love one another, to be accountable, to be compassionate, considerate, loyal, etc. You've at least given him the dignity of letting him know you done with him. And now you're upholding that. And now he's feeling a lot of what you already have been feeling in the relationship. But recognizing your value after putting you through hell, that doesn't erase how he treated you whenever he had you. Post-loss clarity doesn't qualify a man for another opportunity to cause more damage to you. Let's just put it all the way out there. Now he's calling you his dream girl. Now he's saying he didn't know what he had, but he knew exactly what he had. He just didn't think he needed to treat it well to keep it. He didn't think that what he had would actually go and leave and be okay without him, maybe even be better without him. He assumed it would always be there. His regret confirms that you were valuable all along. He was just too selfish to act like it. He was just he was too egotistical, too prideful to prove with his actions that he saw your worth. He was hoping that you wouldn't see your worth. Never be impressed by a man who had to lose you in order to realize that he wanted you. Now, I'm gonna throw a bone out there for brothers. If that man is under the age of 25, I would say have some grace. That don't mean you got to give him more access to your heart. I'm not saying that. I'm saying have some grace in terms of if this truly defines him or not. But past the age of 25, that man knows exactly what he's doing, when he's doing it. And if he has any regret that shows up after he finally gets caught up, whatever feeling he has is about the fact he got caught up. Real love values or recognizes value immediately, consistently, not after the consequences kick in. And I'm, again, saying this for the woman who's trying to qualify whether or not to allow a man to stay in her life, come back in her life, etc. Don't. His newfound appreciation is desperation disguised as revelation. Now, all of a sudden, he can hear from God. Now, all of a sudden, he's been praying. Now, all of a sudden, he's been opening his ears to what his mama has been telling him and his boys have been telling him and what he can't shake and what the feeling is. No. Now he wants to write these love letters to you, send these 4-page letter text messages and maybe even flowers or gifts or promising to change everything. But where was this energy when you were crying yourself to sleep? When you were vulnerable, when you were open? Where were all of these gestures when you were begging for basic respect? His awakening isn't romantic, it's pathetic. He needed that loss to teach him lessons that love should have taught him whenever he first got into their relationship. I'm not saying you can't forgive or whatever. No, forgive. But forgiving a man does not mean you have to give him continued access to you. You can forgive somebody without giving them more access to you. This is a matter of guarding your heart like the Bible says to do, protecting yourself, especially when somebody shows that they have to be protected from. You have to protect yourself from that man. Let him miss out on the woman who loved him through his worst, while she, as in you, learn to love yourself at your best. Your growth during the separation, it just proves you were actually the prize. This is who you could have become had he not been there to dim your light. You were never the problem that he escaped. So he's stuck missing the past while you're building a future without him. While he's reminiscing about what you guys used to do and all the things you used to do for him, you are discovering who you are without him. While he's regretting how he treated you, you over there celebrating how you're treating yourself. So he's stuck in yesterday's mistakes while you're creating tomorrow's victories. Let him miss the woman who outgrew his inability to appreciate her, aka you. And again, if you're in a situation where it's like, well, D, I mean, I get that, but for some reason I'm having a hard time. I'm actually stuck in between a rock and a hard place because I think about him and I miss him, or I don't really miss him, but I can't really move on. And I feel like I've changed. And more than likely, you have a soul tie in place. I know you're not thinking you want to be back with him or anything like that, but a lot of times soul ties get mistaken for damage. A lot of women think it's just PTSD. It's damage. It's triggers. It's healing that they need. No doubt about it. Those things could be at play, but 90% of the time, it's just a soul tie you need to break. I don't care if it was a fling or if it was something serious. If you have not broken the soul tie with those that you've given access to you on any intimate level, you're going to have new triggers. It's going to feel like you're not yourself like you were before. It's going to be feeling like, man, it's hard to really capture that girl that had the optimism and had the belief. Like you're going to have certain narratives that were pressed upon you by how they treated you and talked to you that now it's a lot harder to shake, even though you know they're not true. So I encourage you, however you want to do it, it's fine. Make sure you are addressing those soul ties. Some people don't believe soul ties are real. I do. I know they're real. And if you want the quickest, most effective way to break soul ties, I'm not talking about nothing witchcraft or religious. I'm not talking about that. There are very practical, psychological ways to break soul ties. And I explained it in full detail. I actually made it very simple in my free masterclass, Break the Soul Tie. I put the link down here in the comments. But comment the word soul tie, I'll send it to you for free. You don't have to live with soul ties, and you don't have to live with the question of whether or not you do have soul ties. It's nothing to be ashamed of. You just got some work to do. And if you do it right, it'll take you a couple of weeks and you're done for good. Comment the word soul tie, I'll send it to you for free. But back to what I was saying, all of that man telling you, oh, I miss you, all of them text messages, those are just receipts proving that he's finally paying attention to what he ignored. So what? If a student flunks a test over and over and over again and they finally get expelled, them being ready to finally study ain't gonna make no difference. You should have did that when you were enrolled. Wasting them people time. Same thing goes with that man. Him missing you doesn't automatically qualify you to take him back. Him wanting to give you all of his attention after the abandonment, too little too late. I tell dudes this all the time. A lot of guys, they want to wait until a woman can't even receive them no more to finally deliver all the things that she's been asking for. She don't even care no more. By the time he finally come around and make those changes, put I down in the chat if you've ever been in this situation, sisters, where a man has made all of the changes, done all of the things you have been asking him to do. But by the time he did it, you didn't even care. You were disgusted. You were repulsed by him. You just wanted him to go away. Like, whatever. I don't care if you understand. I don't care if the light bulb is going on. Put I down in the chat if you've ever been there before. He may have honestly made certain changes and willing to do right. And you honestly could care less. Get away from me. Do it for the next chick. Put I down in the chat if you've ever been there. Straight up. He all of a sudden noticing all your nice qualities that he should have noticed before, your kindness, your loyalty, your strength, your intelligence. But those qualities didn't develop overnight. You've been that girl. You've been her. Those qualities were there the entire time. He was taking them for granted. So his messages aren't love letters. They're apology letters to himself for being too blind to see what was right in front of him. And a lot of times, all of that enthusiasm, all of that panic is just fear that another man is going to come in and appreciate what he took for granted. Straight up. Men got to understand, and it's only going to happen when sisters are enforcing these things that I'm speaking on. You can't unbreak a woman's trust just because you finally understand why she trusted you in the first place. You can't unbreak her trust. Now that you finally get it, that she was so willing to see the best in you and willing to give grace, and that she was believing in something and wanting something. And now that you realize why, that was the reason why she trusted you. Now all of a sudden you want to just like have her unlearn all the things you taught her about your integrity or lack thereof. It don't work like that, bruh. Understanding your mistake doesn't undo the damage that it caused. So that enlightenment, that's fine if you wanted to be in your healing journey, but that's not hers. To women, like, yeah, he finally gets why you felt unappreciated, why you needed more effort. He finally understands why you deserve better treatment. Great. But understanding the problem after causing it doesn't erase the pain. It doesn't rebuild the trust. It doesn't restore the relationship. So his growth, if it's genuine, that's nice for his next relationship. Not yours. Because even for him to get back in relationship with you, you would have to now try to suppress and unlearn all of these things that he's taught you about who he is. Now that's extra stress in a time that is going to take for you to finally let your guard down with him and open up and receive love from him. Whereas with another man who has a clean slate, who doesn't have to screw up over and over again to finally get it, you don't have to go through that. The same man who made you feel like you was too much, of course, is now saying, you know, you weren't enough. You weren't enough in his life. You're not close enough now. You're not talking to him like you used to. What happened to you? What happened? But you was too much before. You wanted to resolve conflict, and that was too much before. That was stressful. That was negativity. He called it all the things, right? How all of a sudden you irreplaceable, but whenever you were in his life, you were too demanding. His contradictions reveal manipulation, not genuine remorse. When you guys were together, your needs were too much. Your standards were too high. They were unrealistic. Your expectation was pressure. Now, all of a sudden, you're everything he ever needed, the best thing that ever happened to him. No, he's rewriting history to suit his current narrative, but your lived experience remains unchanged. Now he's trying to align with how you saw things and how you seen things, and he wants to soothe you with this confirmation of what you have been saying all along. Don't go for it. And again, it's not to say that a man can never screw up in some way and genuinely be a better man afterwards. I'm talking, again, for those of y'all who are new here, I'm talking about the relationship where the entire time that man played in your face, acted like you were below average, like he was doing you a favor even being with you. Like he could care less about the damage and the hurt and the stress and the survival mode that he was causing you to endure every day. But all of a sudden, after you finally leave and you actually stop texting and calling and answering the phone, now all of a sudden he got a changed heart. When that girl out there that he thought he could just replace you with is also disappointed in him and disgusted by him, now all of a sudden, don't let his regret become your relapse. He had his chance and he didn't choose you. Second chances, I don't care what it's about. They're not mandatory. Even if he's learned his lesson. And your healing as a woman has to take priority over his redemption arc. Now I know he promises to be different and treat you better and appreciate you, but you've already done the hard work of healing from his treatment, building a life without him. Going back means risking all of the progress that you've made for somebody who's proven they don't naturally value you. Even if his change is real, it is not your responsibility to test it. And again, when you really do the work of not just getting them out of your life, because I've noticed a lot of women are great at that. A lot of women can finally just say, okay, enough is enough. I'm done with you, going about your business. But there's some part of you, it feels like he's taken permanently, like he's robbed you of. And it feels like you'll never be the same. You don't have to be the same, by the way, but you'll never have that same spark, that same light, that same glow. I'm saying if you break the soul tie, if you don't neglect that part of the process, you'll be better than what it was whenever you met him. You'll catch up to who you would have been had he had never been born. Again, comment soul tie. I will teach you how. I don't leave y'all empty-handed. I make sure you're good. Comment soul tie. I'll teach you the step-by-step process on how to break a soul tie for good. But you got to be mindful that you manage as a woman that hope for vindication and believing, his regret proves you were right to fight for the relationship whenever you did. You were right to believe in him whenever you initially did. You trying to vindicate yourself, and there's no need for it because you shouldn't have any shame about the fact that you did trust somebody who wasn't trustworthy. It happens. That's on him. It wasn't that you're a bad picker. He's a good actor. And you got to be able to manage, ladies. I'm talking to you now, this hardball, but I'm your big bro. I got to keep it real with you. You got to manage your own fear of permanent loss. Worrying you'll never find a man who knows your value. Don't define every man by this loser or the losers that you've come across. Again, once you break that soul tie, you'll be surprised at how you break the pattern of the types of men that you are attracting. That soul tie will have you lowering your standards at a subconscious level, even though you know what it is you deserve, what it is that you should be entertaining. Too much to get into here. That's why I broke it down in the masterclass. But comment soul ties. I'll send it to you for free. But back to what I was saying. Let that man miss what he mishandled. Be stingy with access to you. His regret is not your invitation to return or to allow him more access. Your confirmation is in the fact that he's now validating everything you were trying to tell him. Let it stop there. Not be reason why you go back. Don't be impressed by somebody who needed to first lose you to realize you were everything he ever needed. You don't exist to teach grown men how to appreciate good women at the expense of years you wasted trying to show him whenever you were giving him a chance in a relationship. So that awakening he's possibly having, that's cute. But please free yourself of the responsibility to validate it. Let him miss you while you move on to somebody who won't need to lose you to recognize your worth. Those are just my thoughts. Y'all know I'm your internet big bro and I got your back. So if this was in any way helpful to you, keep your money. But find a little arrow down here and pay it forward to somebody else who needs to hear this message on your timeline. You're going to end up blessing them and you're going to get good karma from it. It's free. Takes only a second. Find a little arrow, hit the share button. And if you want the free masterclass on breaking the soul tie, if you're ready to, first off, identify if you have a soul tie. And most times you do. If you have not gone through your own process to break soul ties, more than likely you do. And you want the step-by-step process on how to break the soul tie, to detox your life, your spirit, your energy for good from any and all past exes and flames, comment the word soul tie. I'll send you my masterclass absolutely free. I'll also put the link down here in the comments. Holla at your lady, I'll be good.